Okay, we are going to do notes for today. Some of this, it's green, so that we've been talking about, it's not in your notes. I like to give these ACT type questions from problems that you're gonna see. So anything that says ACT, it's a released question. So I'm gonna give you about 1 minute, because that's what you get on the ACT is 1 minute per question. So I'm gonna give you 1 minute to take a look at this and see if you can figure out the answer. And if you don't have it yet, go ahead and pause and see if you can figure it out. Okay, so it says a ramp rises. So I have a ramp and it rises 6 inches for every 24 inches that it runs. So how many inches for 62 inches of a horizontal run? So I'm doing 6 over 24, rise over run, equals x over 62. And so I'm taking out a little calculator here. If you need to use your phone on this, because I do not expect you to do 6 times 62 without a calculator. So you're doing 6 times 62, and that's 372. So you get 24x equals 372, and you're going to divide both sides by 24, and your answer is 15.5. Okay, so if you look at that, that's going to be 15 and a half. Okay. So try this one. I'm going to give you about 12 seconds. All right, this is an actual released ACT question. So it's asking you the y-intercept of the graph is what? Well, remember, you should know this. This is my y-axis. So this would be my y-intercept. So my answer is Z, which means the answer is E. Okay. All right, so try this one. This is a released ACT question. Go ahead and pause it and try it, because I don't know how long it's going to take. Some of you will get it done quick and some of you won't. So pause it and try it. All right, so we know a couple of things. We have an equation of a line right here. Okay, and you know a comma negative 3 is on the graph. So what that means, it wants you to find the value of a. Okay, well, if I look up here, my a value is in the x position. So it's saying that my a is my x and my negative 3 is my y. So I'm going to plug in a negative 3. Oh gosh, what am I doing? I'm going to plug in, I have a minus 4 times a negative 3 equals 14. So a negative 4 times a negative 3 is a positive 12. And so I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides, and my answer is 2. Okay. All right, so today you're going to learn about and review about linear functions, writing them, graphing them, all the crap with linear functions. You're doing it all. Okay, so some vocabulary we need to go back over. Slope, remember, is rise over run. So another way you've learned it is it's your change in y over your change in x. Okay, you always count the ups and the overs. All right, so the vocab, the other thing you can say, it is your rate of change. Lots of things in this world have slope. Like if you have a job and you get paid by the hour, your pay is actually your slope. Okay. All right. So example 1, we're going to go back over how to find slope. Now, when you were in junior high, they taught you like some formula. But if you come back up here, it's your change in y. So it's your y's, how far apart are your y's, over your change in x. And that's on the bottom. Okay, so if I look at this down here, if I look at my change in y's, I can do either direction. I'm going to show you this. So I would do 3.5 minus 6 over my change in x's would be a negative 1.5 minus 4.5. So if I do 3.5 minus 6, I end up with a negative 2.5. Sorry, I had to use a calculator. It's been a long day. And then I do negative 1.5 and a negative 4.5. That's a negative 6. Okay, and so it's been a while since you've done fractions, a negative and a negative. So if I need to simplify this, isn't it 25/60ths? Because you would move the decimal one place, and so this would be 5/12. That would be my slope. Now, you can go the other direction. So you can actually do 6 minus 3.5 divided by 4.5 minus a minus 1.5. You still end up getting 2.5 over 6. It's just now both of them are positive. So this has a slope of 5/12. Okay, if I do the next one, you do your change in y, and I really don't care what order, 6 minus 8 divided by the change in x, which is 3.2 minus 3.2 is 0. So can you divide by 0? Try it on your calculator, pick up your phone, whatever you need to do. You can't divide by 0. So this would end up as an undefined slope. Some of you in your junior high maybe wrote it as a no slope. Okay, if I was to sketch this, because it's going to come up in a minute, if I go over 3.2 and up 6, and over 3.2 and up 8, this is what my line would look like. And so it's a vertical line. So a vertical line is always going to have no change in the x, so it's a no slope. Okay, if I were to be like a stick figure on the top of this line and I took a step off, I would just fall forever because there's nothing there to catch me. There is no slope. Okay, a horizontal line is going to have 0 slope. It's flat. It's not going up. It's not going down. It's 0 slope. All right, so on example 2, it wants you to find the slope of the following lines. So it doesn't matter what point you start from. So if I start here, I'm counting up 4, and then I'm going over 2. So my slope, they call it an M, is up 4 over 2, and that answer is 2. I could also start from the other point. So I could start from here, and I'm going down 4. You always go up and down first, back 2. So my slope is a negative 4 over a negative 2, which still comes out 2. So some kids try to say, oh, we got different answers because we subtracted different ways. No, this thing, like if I stuck my daughter on a skateboard on this thing and I said ride, she would be going uphill, right? She's not going downhill, so she's going positive. If the line went the other way, then that's going downhill, so you would have a negative slope. Okay, so find the slope and the equation of the following line. So if I look at this, if I go from this point, I'm going up 0 over 5, 0 over 5, my slope is 0. So if I wrote the equation of the line, like this point right here is 0, negative 2. This point is 1, negative 2. This point is 3, negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, and so on. Basically, I call this Sesame Street. I don't even know if you guys got to watch Sesame Street. But all of these are the same, and they're all y values. So this ends up being y equals a negative 2. Horizontal lines are y lines because they cross the y-axis. Vertical lines are x lines because the x's stay the same and they cross the x-axis. Okay, so it says find the slope of the following line. So I'm starting here. I'm counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back 1. So my slope would be up 5, back 1. So that would be a negative 5. Or I could go the other direction and I could go down 5, forward 1. So that would be down 5, forward 1, which is still a negative 5. So it really doesn't matter how you count the slope of the line, you're still going to end up with the same final answer. Okay, vocabulary y-intercept form means y equals mx plus b, right? You learn this in junior high. This is your slope. This is your y-intercept. And so you're doing y equals mx plus b. So you got to know the slope and you got to know the y-intercept. So on this first one, if the slope is 2 and it passes through this as a point, this is not an intercept, but this is an x and a y. So if I write y equals mx plus b, I can plug the y in for y, the m in for m, the x in for x, and then I get b. So I'd have 14 equals 6 plus b. subtract 6 from both sides, and I have 8 equals b. So now I know an m and a b, so I would write y equals negative 2x plus 8. That is my final answer, to put it in intercept form. Okay, the other way to do is to do point slope form. So that means you take the point and you put it in. So it's y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value. So get this written down in your notes. And then if you notice, this is the exact same example we did. So I'm going to do y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value. Well, my x value is a negative 3. So if I minus it, it would become a plus 3. So now I would have to simplify. So I would minus in by the negative 2. And then I would add 14. So I end up with y equals a negative 2x plus 8. Same question, negative 2x plus 8. If I go up here, I get a negative 2x plus 8. So guess what? You are in Algebra 2, not Algebra 1. These both should be review. You learned them in junior high. I do not care which version of the equation you found or use on your homework. So in your homework, if it says use point slope form, you do not have to. You can use whatever form you want. I don't care, but at this point in your mathematical career, you should be able to write the equation of the line using one of the two formulas. Okay, so let's look at example 5. I'm going to do this both ways, okay, just to make sure we're all good. You can fast forward through the way you don't like. But anyway, you have a point, you don't have the slope. So for both ways, you have to find the slope first. So it's going to be a negative 3 minus a minus 2. So I'm doing change in y over change in x, so 2 minus 4. So my answer is a negative 1 over a negative 2, so my slope is 1/2. So there's two ways to write the equation of the line. You have y equals mx plus b, and you can pick a point, either point. I don't care which point, so I'm going to pick this point, and I'm going to do the problem with that. So I would do y equals mx plus b. So what's half of 2 is 1. And then I would minus 1, and my b is a negative 4. So I'm going to say y equals 1/2 x minus 4. That's my answer. Okay, but I could go back and do my y minus my y value equals m times x minus my x value. And I'm going to use the other point. So I'm going to do y minus my y value, so y plus 2, equals m, which is 1/2, times x minus 4. So you're going to multiply in by the 1/2. And then you're going to subtract 2 from both sides, so I get y equals 1/2 x minus 4. Guess what? It's the same line, so you should have the same answer. Okay, so just because you do it a different way or with a different point, it does not matter. You should always have the same answer. Okay, so go ahead and pause this and try example 6 just to make sure that you're good. Pause it, try it, and then you can check it. So I would do, and it doesn't matter what order, y minus y over, but if I start with that one, I would do x minus x. So that's 8 over a negative 2, so my slope is a negative 4. Again, it doesn't matter which one you do, so I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to do y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value. So y plus 3 equals a negative 4x plus 16. So I'm going to minus 3, and I get y equals negative 4x plus 13, right? And I don't know which way you did it, so I'm just going to show both. You could also do y, and I'm going to use this one, y equals mx plus b. So negative 4 times 2 is a negative 8. I'm going to add 8, and I get 13. So I get y equals negative 4x plus 13. Guess what? Exact same answer. So I don't care. From here on out, if it tells you a method, you don't have to use that method. I just need you to be able to find me the equation of a line. Okay? Parallel lines, you learned this last year in geometry. These are lines that on the same plane that do not cross. That's your geometrical vocab for that. But parallel lines, when you're talking algebra, it has the same slope. So you're going to have the same slope. So you're going to go ahead, it says find the equation of the line that passes through this point and is parallel to this line. Well, if it's parallel, the only thing I care about is that my slope is 4/3. So now I can do y equals mx plus b. So that would be -2 times 4. So that's a -8. Add 8, and I get 2. So y equals 4/3 x plus 2, right? Or I could do the other method, which is y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value times n. It's 24/3, which is 8. So I minus 6, and I get y equals 4/3 x. Oh, sorry, I have to record right now. My iPad's being weird, so there you go. Same answer. I don't care what method. The point I'm trying to make here is be good at one of them. Okay, perpendicular, it's probably been maybe a while since you've done it algebraically. These hit in geometry, can't talk, in geometry, your vocab for perpendicular is that they're intersecting lines at a 90-degree angle. Okay, in algebra you learn that means the slope is the opposite reciprocal. Opposite reciprocal. Sorry, I need water. Been talking. All right, so on this, so the only thing you care about from this line is this. It's the slope. So the perpendicular slope would be the opposite reciprocal. So if it's a positive 1/2, your opposite reciprocal is a -2. And then you would do your y equals mx plus b. So you get 3 equals 4 plus b. So then you minus 4, and your b is a -1. So your answer is y equals -2x minus 1. And if you did it by point slope, it would be y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value, so it's a minus. So you get y minus 3 equals a -2x minus 4, so I'm going to add 3, and I get y equals -2x minus 1. Okay, same answer. So I do not need you to work these both ways. Hopefully you're hearing that. I'm just trying to show you that they're pretty much the same number of steps. So honestly, whichever one makes the most sense to you is perfect. Okay, on this one, it's perpendicular, so that means if my slope is a -4, my perpendicular slope, this is really 4/1, so if I flip that, it's going to be 1/4. So I'm going to do y equals mx plus b, so 1/4 of 4 is 1, and then when I subtract 1, my b is 2, so I would have y equals 1/4 x plus 2. I am not going to work it the other way because I feel like I've done it enough. Okay? All right, so example 10, this one is parallel. So if you're talking parallel lines, then you're talking the same slope. So if it's parallel, then it's still 3. And you're using this point. So you're going to do y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value times n by 3. And then subtract the 2. So y equals 3x minus 20. So you should have gotten that answer if you did y equals mx plus b. It doesn't matter the way that you do the problem. Okay, find the equation of the line. This is not, I don't believe this is in your notes, and I left it off a couple years ago, and I just kind of want to go through this again. If I'm finding the equation of the line, the first thing I'm doing, it crosses at a -1, so that's my b. And then if I look, I'm going up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1, up 1, back 1, so isn't my slope a -1? So this would be a -1x minus 1. Okay, I always find my y-intercept and then I count the slope. Okay, so find the equation of this line. It looks like it hits here, but I'm gonna just double check. Yep, it definitely does. So you're going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. That is uphill and plus 4 because its y-intercept is 4. Okay. Equation of the line, this hits the y-axis, so my answer would be y equals 4. That is the equation of the line. Okay, so you are doing delta math. It is not delta, I'm struggling. Delta math, okay? This assignment is RE3, and it is a long one, and it is a doozy, and it will take you a while because I am not gonna spend hours and hours and hours reviewing lines. You've done lines last year in geometry, 2 years ago in algebra, 3 years ago in pre-algebra. So all this y equals mx plus b, I think we can handle by just doing a bunch of practice. So if you're struggling with lines, you need to come in and see me right away because we are gonna move forward from lines next week. All right, the rest of the time is yours to work. If I can get it to stop.